Chief Satanta was a war chief of the Kiowa tribe and a member of the Koitsenko, a group of the 10 greatest warriors of the tribe. He was known for his skill as a warrior and for carrying out a United States Military Trumpet into battle. He even fought with Kit Carson at the Battle of Adobe Walls and would be the first Native American tried in court. This legend of the West's early life is not well documented. Most of his history was passed down through tribal traditions through generations of Kiowa tribesmen. The few things we do know is he grew up in the wide range of the Kiowa territory, spanning from the North Platte River in what is now western Nebraska and the Canadian River of what is now North Texas and central Oklahoma. He was born to Chief Red Teepee sometime around 1815 to 1818. The exact date is unknown. When Satanta was born, his first name was Big Ribs, referring to his massive physique, which he would be known for throughout his life. He wouldn't get the name Satanta, which means white bear, until he was older. He obtained this name either from a vision or some personal achievement. As a Kiowa boy, Satanta began training as a warrior at a very early age, as was tradition. However, most of the Kiowa boys were sent out on their own as soon as they proved capable. But Red Teepee was very proud of his son and kept him under close supervision. By the time Satanta was released into the world, he was almost 30 and thoroughly prepared for his role in the Kiowa Nation. The first written accounts of Satanta come from settlers in the United States military during the mid-1850s. At this time, Satanta was a sub-chief of the Kiowa tribe, but his large frame and fine features drew the attention of many. Captain Richard T. Jacobs writes of Satanta as a man of magnificent physique, being over 6 feet tall, well-built, and finely proportioned. In battle, he was often recognized by the red paint on his upper torso, face, and hair. He wore a buckskin vest painted red on one side and yellow on the other. One of his most important pieces of equipment he carried with him was the sacred sun shields used during the Kiowa sun dance. To accept this shield, Satanta had to sacrifice his own flesh. To do this, he received 4 deep cuts in his back just above the shoulders. This would serve as a painful and enduring sacrifice. Although Satanta prized his sun shield above all else, the U.S. military would quickly recognize Satanta as the Native American that used their own bugle against them. Satanta would often use this bugle to confuse American troops and to signal his arrival. Although other Native Americans began to use bugles during conflicts with the U.S. military, it was said that if a bugle was heard during battle, that Satanta was there fighting. One of his most notable uses of the bugle was during the first Battle of Adobe Walls. A combined force of Kiowa and Apaches faced off against a force of the U.S. military led by Kit Carson. During the heat of battle, Satanta could be heard counter-bugling to Carson's orders, causing confusion amongst the troops. Although the losses were great, the combined forces of Native Americans caused Kit Carson and his troops to retreat back to New Mexico. In 1867, raids from Satanta in the south and the Red Cloud War in the north prompted the U.S. government to negotiate peace treaties with the Native Americans. This was their second attempt to negotiate peace, the first being the Treaty of Little Arkansas, which Satanta also participated in. That treaty, however, accomplished very little and did not lead to lasting peace. For the second treaty, the two groups met near Medicine Lodge Creek in Kansas. At this treaty, Satanta gave a speech saying, "I have heard that you intend to set apart a reservation near the mountains of western Oklahoma. I don't want to settle. I love to roam over the prairie. I feel free and happy. But when we settle down and get pale and die, a long time ago this land belonged to our fathers. But when I go up to the Arkansas River, I see camps of soldiers on its banks. The soldiers cut down my timber. They kill my buffalo. And when I see that, my heart feels like bursting. I feel sorry." In the end, the Kiowa tribe signed the peace treaty and agreed to stop raiding settlements. Not long after signing the treaty, both parties were not able to uphold the agreed-upon terms, and Satanta once again went back to raiding. In 1871, Satanta was leading raids in Texas. His undoing would come when he participated in the Warren Wagon Train raid on May 18, 1871. The wagon train, upon seeing the group of Indian warriors, circled their wagons and attempted to defend themselves. Despite this, they were quickly overrun. The warriors killed and mutilated several of the wagoneers and captured all the supplies. Satanta foolishly bragged of his involvement in the raid and was soon arrested by General William Sherman. He was taken to Jacksboro, Texas, to stand trial for his involvement in the raid. He would be the first Native American to be tried in court. At the trial, Satanta warned what would happen if he was convicted. He said, "I am a great chief among my people. If you kill me, it will be like a spark on the prairie. It will make a big fire, a terrible fire." Despite this, Satanta was found guilty and was given the death penalty. Judge Seward ordered that Satanta be taken by the sheriff of Jack County and hanged until he is dead, 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 and God have mercy on his soul. However, Governor Davis overruled this, and Satanta was instead given the punishment of life in prison and was taken to Huntsville State Penitentiary in Texas. After 2 years, Satanta was released on parole and returned to the Kiowa tribe. At this time, much of the fighting spirit had left Satanta, and when the Red River War broke out in 1875, Satanta retired his position as war chief and passed on his lance and sunshield to younger, more aggressive warriors. Although the Kiowa tribe denied any involvement of Satanta in the Red River War, the Kiowa's participation was seen as a violation of Satanta's parole, and he was once again arrested and returned to Huntsville. This once great war chief of the Kiowa people was sentenced to live the rest of his life as a member of a chain gang, forced to work on establishing roads through the Great Plains he once roamed free on. The guards often noticed how Satanta would stare for hours at the traditional hunting grounds of his people and seemed to wither away. In October 1878, this legend of the West would come to an end when he decided to no longer live a life in captivity and dove head first out the prison's second-story window, ending his own life. It should be noted that the family of Satanta believe he was pushed out the window, for he was a proud Kiowa warrior, and suicide was not in his nature.